Hey everybody, get ready because a huge change is coming our way as we head into Thanksgiving week. This is going to dramatically affect our temperatures and, more importantly, those bone-chilling wind chills. And right after the holiday, buckle up because we're tracking multiple snowstorms that are set to roll in as we move past Thanksgiving and into the start of December. We even have a major outlook for that to share with you. So, in this brand new forecast, I am going to break down exactly what the weather pattern has in store for us right around the corner. Spoiler alert, it is about to get seriously cold. Now, we are still dealing with that sudden stratospheric warming event, which is completely shaking up our polar vortex all the way into December. In fact, that second Arctic blast is still on its way. It is still shaping up to be a major outbreak. We have several waves coming through, but the freezing temperatures themselves are not diving all the way to the south this time. The models have actually retracted that line back northward overnight, and that is the new trend. However, the wind chills are a whole nother story, because the trend with those is looking absolutely frigid. Now, you can see this information for yourself when we dig into the data. When you look at our Arctic oscillation and check the very latest update, you can see how yesterday the European model showed our cold blast plunging deep. Now, fast forward to today, you can see it is updated and has pulled that coldest air way back to the north. Now, this is still bringing in freezing temperatures, they just are not penetrating as far south into the lower 48, but it is bringing some very powerful wind chills. Now, you have to remember my rule. When the models disagree, the trend is always your friend. So, as you can see here, when you also check the Euro-to-Euro artificial intelligence and the GFS models, they are all trending in the same direction, that this cold air has retreated way back to the north. You can see this clearly when you look way up into the stratosphere, where that sudden stratospheric warming event is happening. You can see that all the coldest air is going to stay bottled up in Canada, but it is going to spill just far enough south to hit the northern tier of the United States. That is where the freezing temperatures will arrive right as we go into Thanksgiving. Now, once we get through Thanksgiving, we are still expecting that second blast to come roaring through. This one is going to funnel all the way down from Canada into the lower 48 and deliver an even colder punch. That is the one that will transition even deeper across the United States as we head toward the end of November and into the beginning of December, sending those freezing temperatures way down. We are talking very cold, wind chills potentially reaching all the way towards the Gulf of Mexico. But this is what will set up the perfect pattern for major snowstorms across the Great Lakes, the Midwest, and out through the Northeast. And it shows that as we head into December, we are going to stay locked in that pattern. It is going to pivot right towards the Great Lakes and the Northeast with this next cold blast. You can see the latest updates from the Climate Prediction Center reflect this. So, we have above average warmth over here in the southeast and above average warmth towards the southwest. But where that trough is digging in with the cooler air, the white areas show your average temperatures for this time of year. But this below average anomaly coming in, you can see it has pulled back some. You can also see with the precipitation forecast that we are going to be above average in that same cold region. This gives you a fantastic chance for snow all the way from the 25th through the 29th of November. Also, around the southeast, as we get that deep trough and those storms rolling through, it is going to bring above average precipitation across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic, while you will be below average across the southwest. Now, once we move past this pattern into the beginning of December, you can see that cold blast just absolutely bombing its way through. And you can see it stretches all the way towards northern Texas, across the northern side of the Deep South, and out through the Northeast. As for snowfall, you can see for the next 9 days, that is right, 9 days the snowfall forecast shows we could get some storms coming across Canada that could clip the edge of the northern side of the United States. This could bring a little bit of snow, maybe for the interior Northeast as well. And that is pretty much the trend for the next 9 days, all the way towards November 29th, as you can see with the European model. So for the snowfall outlook, here is our newest outlook that we have, taking us all the way until the 3rd of December, and you can see this is for right after Thanksgiving. So from the 28th through the 29th, over here for the higher elevations of the West Coast and the higher elevations of the Rockies, we are still going to be in a little bit of a warmer scenario. Remember, the coldest air has pulled back, but there are going to be some strong wind chills. But from the 30th all the way towards the 3rd, there is a slight risk chance for heavy snow. Now, this area has expanded further towards the east. Now, you can see, as we look in 7-day increments with the European ensembles, it is showing the exact same thing. It is going to be a very light amount, a little bit on the edges of the United States, and mostly in Canada as we go all the way towards Thanksgiving. Right afterwards, we could get a trough from a system moving through, maybe bringing an inch here or there. Just some novelty flakes, really. But once we go from the 30th and onward, it is still showing that we are going to get this pattern. We are going to get this trough of storms coming through and bringing the snowfall, and it shows it is going to last for a few days. Then, as we go into the very beginning of December, all the way towards the 10th and beyond, we are going to change our weather pattern yet again, all the way towards Christmas, where the storm track is going to come in from this direction and bring snowfall just like this. And you can see how that pattern just stays there all the way through the middle of December. So that is where our snow is going to be. As we head all the way towards the 20th of December, snow is going to start coming in a very big way with these powerful snowstorms. Now, looking at the vorticity, we still have those strong storms rolling through for today and also for tomorrow as that energy swings through. Then, as the system comes across from California, bringing that flood risk that is still active for California into Arizona as it moves into Saturday and Sunday, it will be on the move, and that will bring more storms, potentially on Monday. It looks like they will be coming across the South Central region again, so I will definitely keep you updated. It is still a few days away, and severe weather can really change from day to day. It looks like it could be another mild event, maybe with chances for hail and perhaps some damaging winds. Now, yesterday, once again, the great news is we did not get any tornadoes. We did get some snow reports over here from Pennsylvania and northern New Jersey. And we also had some hail reports that came down from northern Texas going through Oklahoma. And we had the flooding that was happening over here in Arizona with some snow over here in Flagstaff. But for today, you can see thunderstorms are possible in any of this green shaded area. We do have the big marginal risk for severe weather, and you can see this includes chances for hail and also chances for wind. And they did add that 2% chance for tornadoes. So you can see as you go through the morning, you still have some storms coming through, and also some snow in the higher elevations of California, and even some for Colorado. Meanwhile, you will get these storms firing up all the way into the early afternoon for the South Central region. It is showing these are the cells that we really need to watch out for as we go through the evening, as they bring chances for damaging winds. But you absolutely cannot rule out an isolated tornado threat as you go through the evening for Texas. And as that line pushes into Oklahoma as well, you can see on the significant tornado parameter map, that is where your best chance to see a tornado today will be, from those lines of storms that come through. This brings chances for hail. This brings chances for damaging winds, and it is bringing that 2% chance for tornadoes, which you cannot rule out. So let's dive into who is at risk for the severe weather for today. Then, I am going to show you these temperatures. You are not going to believe these wind chills. So for today, your chances for tornadoes. So far, here are your cities in Texas at risk. But you can also see that it does extend across southeastern and eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas as well. We also have the wind threat and the hail threat in the very same locations. So here are your cities and states at risk for damaging winds and hail for today. And you can see as you go into Friday and Saturday, this system is just going to bring thunderstorms. There is no severe weather outlook for those days. Now, when you look at NATOcasts, and it is not used by the National Weather Service as an official forecasting tool, it does sometimes go a little stronger than what actually happens, but it gives you a good hint of where the atmosphere could be the most unstable. And you can see over here for northern Texas going through eastern Oklahoma that there could be a little bit stronger chance for these cells to turn into a quick tornado. You even have a little spot over here for northern Texas and a spot over here for Tennessee. So one of these thunderstorms could bring anywhere from 50, even up to 60 miles per hour wind gusts. We could get a little isolated pocket also for Oklahoma and central Texas. But you can see from here that hail is going to be the dominant factor of this storm. There are going to be some chances for large hail over here in this yellow and this red, and small hail going across with this blue and this green. And believe it or not, as we go into next week, the trend on these wind chills is looking absolutely frigid, especially as we go into Thanksgiving and beyond. It is just coming really deep into the United States and bringing very cold wind chills. Now, let me help you get a good idea of what is actually happening here. So I am going to show you the trend. So you can see here, going into next Tuesday morning, this is what the European model is showing. You can also see with the wind chills on the Euro, it is showing it could bring that feels like temperature even colder, especially for Canada. Now, when you compare this to the GFS model, it is seeing almost the same thing, just a little bit of a colder scenario. Now, the high temperatures for Tuesday are showing it is going to warm up. You see this cold air is retracting way back, Remember, it has pulled back a lot, and it is going to bring those wind chills in for a little bit. And you can see the comparison with the GFS, which is bringing that cold in a little bit deeper. But the scenarios are still pointing to some seriously cold wind chills, even with a big warm-up heading our way for Wednesday morning. You can see the colder air pushing through, but it's not that deep-diving cold the models showed before. The wind chill is what's really going to make it feel like you're in the 20s as you're heading out the door on Wednesday morning. And if we compare this to the GFS model, it's on the same page, but it's forecasting even colder wind chills. We're talking sub-zero feels-like temperatures. Now, to see if this is a trend, let's pull in the Canadian model. And here's where it gets interesting. The Canadian model is disagreeing with the Euro. It's siding with the GFS, perhaps even forecasting a slightly stronger wind chill. But to give you the absolute best case scenario, I'm going to keep the Euro in the mix so you can see the full trend. As we look at the high temperatures for Wednesday, you can see that significant warm-up. Some of you will still be in freezing temperatures, but it's not the deep freeze that was shown previously. And you can see with the wind chills, most of this is staying up in the northern states. The GFS model is showing a huge pivot and is bringing in a much colder wind chill. As we get into Thursday morning, right on Thanksgiving, this is where everything really starts to change. You can see those freezing temperatures returning, even some in the 20s. We can see it's not as deep as it was before. And looking at the wind chills, this is what the Euro model is showing. Now look at the latest trend for the morning lows, with that wind chill factored in. Here's the Euro, and here is the GFS. And this is the Canadian model, agreeing that we have a major wind chill event coming through as we head into Thanksgiving and beyond. For our high temperatures on Thanksgiving, you can see a lot of people will stay below freezing, but it's not as widespread as before. Remember, the core of the cold did pull back. But that's just looking at the air temperatures. If you look at the wind chills, they are going to be a huge factor, and quite strong for the northern tier of the lower 48 for your Thanksgiving Day highs. Now, comparing this to the GFS, it's seeing almost the same thing, but then it goes completely bonkers as we head into the weekend. So here is Friday, with the freezing temperatures from the European model, and here are the wind chills as we go through the day, as that Arctic blast transitions across the Great Lakes and out through the Northeast. This is the second wave. Now, look at the wind chills from the Euro compared to the GFS. It's bringing in those brutal sub-zero temperatures. And look at the trend, folks. The Canadian model is in agreement that sub-zero feels like temperatures are coming. And these wind chills are diving all the way down towards the south as we go through Friday, the 28th. The high temperatures for Friday do retract all the way back. Remember, the actual cold air does pull back. It is going to be the wind chills that we are really going to feel. And just look at this compared to the Euro. This is the Euro. This is the GFS. And this is the Canadian. The GFS and Canadian models are in lockstep, agreeing that the northern tier of the lower 48, and not just Canada, is going to start feeling these single-digit and negative wind chills as we go through Friday. And that's for our high temperatures. Now, let's look ahead one more day to Saturday morning, which brings more freezing temperatures. And once again, it brings in those wind chills. This is what the Euro is showing, and you can see the cold is digging in even deeper. But look at the trend. The GFS is locking in those sub-zero temperatures, and the Canadian model is right there with it. And that, everybody, is your latest weather forecast. You can clearly see the trend of what is right around the corner. So please, make sure you prepare for the temperatures, but more importantly, make sure you are best prepared for these wind chills. These wind chills are going to come in deeper and feel stronger than any other part of this weather pattern, everyone. Now, before I go, please make sure you take care of your animals as well. This is going to be a nasty cold spell coming through. Remember Proverbs chapter 12, verse 10. A righteous man cares for the needs of his animal, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Amen. Please make sure you check on your neighbors. Make sure you check on the pets. Make sure everything and everyone will be okay. This will be a very nasty cold blast. Now, remember, it is going to transition across the Great Lakes and the Northeast as we go towards the end of November and into December. So we will update you on that weather pattern too. All in all, a lot of snow is coming with this after Thanksgiving. So tell me down below, are you ready for this very cold wind chill that's about to push through? And above all things, all glory does go to God, our Father in heaven. And I always hope He keeps you safe every single day of your life. And forever. Amen. Amen. Have a great day, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow morning.